And it was in that moment I felt, am I too Indian for India itself? Yeah, that's how I felt. So you'll often find me saying I moved back to India in 2010, when in reality, I've never actually lived in India. But I did visit India every 2 years without fail. And I would spend like 2 months here during my summer holidays. So when I moved here, it didn't feel like I was completely moving to a new place. It felt like I was moving to a place that was familiar. But yet, when I came here in 2010, there were so many things, there were little things that were like a complete shock to me. So I'd like to label this as reverse culture shock. There's things that I just didn't, like my version of India was different, and then the version of India that I saw was very different. So the first thing is with regards to Tamil. So I'd say I was pretty well versed in Tamil. In hindsight, I didn't speak as well as I do now, but I'd say about 70 to 80% I was quite effective in my Tamil. We did make it a priority to speak Tamil at home, when we were in the US. And my parents also took the initiative to teach me how to read and write, and I attended Tamil classes, to further that skill, all of that. So not only speaking, reading, writing, things like that, but I was also very, very fond of Tamil films, Tamil music. So I was caught up on all the Tamil films. So they would actually release in theaters there. We would either go to the theaters or we would rent the DVD and watch. And also when it came to music, as soon as new music was released, we would download it. That is what was playing in our cars, things like that. And it wasn't just me, it was me and like all the other Tamil kids in the community that were like this. So when I came here, I expected to share that same enthusiasm, but instead I saw that here everyone was very fond of English, speaking English, watching English films, listening to English music, things like that. And I think they were shocked seeing my taste, and I was shocked that I was like more enthusiastic than them. So I think the reason is obviously grass is greener on the other side. This is something that I'm going to keep repeating in today's video because I think that's the basis of all of this. So obviously when we lived abroad, we wanted to embrace our roots, embrace our culture, things like that. Whereas I'm assuming people here wanted to expand their horizons, learn more about what's out there on a global level, things like that, which is totally understandable, but it was a shock for me. So the next aspect is with regards to clothing. So as you all could probably tell, I am quite comfortable in Indian clothing, feels like second skin to me, all of that. And I did have quite a collection. Again, when I think about it, I think I had some questionable fashion choices, but that's another story. But basically, I did have quite a collection. And when I first came to college in India, and there was a cultural event coming up, and a bunch of us girls decided we were going to dance for it. And it was a very like folkish song, very traditional in nature. So we decided on half saris. So when we were deciding on who would wear what, I remember every girl, everyone was just kind of going around in a circle saying what they had. And every girl was like, I have one in green, I have one, it's blue, I have one that's purple. And I just kept hearing one, like, I have one, I have one. Like, what do they mean they only have one? Like, I was sitting there, I had 15 half saris in all color combinations possible, pattu half saris. And that was just a complete shock to me. And it was in that moment I felt, am I too Indian for India itself? Yeah, that's how I felt. So that's just something that I still remember. And it's funny because if you see my old albums, I constantly get reminded on Google Photos of my high school era. You will constantly be seeing me wearing pattu half saris. And if you ask me what the event was, what was the occasion, I will tell you it was just a simple Saturday night dinner at an auntie's house. That's all, nothing big, but we used to go all out. Again, not just me, it was all of us there. We used to go all out and dress up even for simple dinners because, when else are we going to get the chance? So we totally embraced that and took advantage of the situation. So the next aspect is with regards to classical dance. So I am a classical dancer. I learned Bharatanatyam since the age of 7. I did my Arangetram, and after that, I also started learning Kuchipudi and continued learning when I shifted to India as well. And again, in college, there was an event that was coming up. They needed an invocation dance. So I still remember this moment where someone came, I think one of our seniors came in and asked, "How many of you know classical dance?" And the four hands that went up. So um, it was me plus three of my other close friends, and we were all NRIs, which was crazy. Like I still remember, like, so I was from the US, I had a friend from Saudi, one from Muscat, one from Abu Dhabi, and we were the ones who had actually learned classical dance for so many years and were still like practicing it. And again, grass is greener on the other side. So our parents decided to put us into this classical art form, whereas I noticed a lot of the kids here um, wanted to explore things like Western dance and things like that. So that was again a very big shock to me because I grew up constantly performing. You know, I was performing for like New Year's, Diwali, Pongal, any random event. There would be like a invocation dance and we would be there. And Tamil Association, Telugu Association, Kannada Association, whatever it was, we were there. So I had so much exposure, which I'm thankful for. But yeah, I was just very shocked to see that again, it was the scene here was very different. So finally, one of the things that shocked me, which I find to be one of the most interesting. So when it comes to certain perceptions I have of India, again, I didn't live here, so I can't really, I wouldn't have actually known, how things were. But my perception was based on things I've heard, things I've seen in films, stuff like that, things I've heard from family, all of that. And I grew up in a place where like having a relationship, having a boyfriend, a girlfriend, it was just so common, so accepted. It was the norm from like middle school itself. So I had friends who, they had their first boyfriend or girlfriend from like grade 5 itself. That was just, it was completely normal. So again, this was not something I experienced. I'll be very frank, I did not have any experience with this, but I constantly witnessed it. It was the norm of the culture there. And when I came to India, for some reason, I assumed that this was not really the norm at a younger age. So I knew that, like, obviously all marriages were not arranged marriages. A lot of people did have like we call it love marriages here, right, where you find your own partner. So I knew that that existed in India, but I didn't really think much about like people being in relationships in school and college and all. Again, I didn't have that exposure. I didn't really know. But it was really funny because as soon as like these girls heard I was from the US, they all crowded around me and they were like, "How many proposals have you had?" And I was completely lost because to me, proposal meant marriage proposal. It was like, what do you mean? Like, I just came from like school. Like, how would I have been proposed to by now? It made no sense. And every girl was like, "I've had 2 proposals. I've had 3 guys propose to me. I've had 4. And then only I understood that like a boy showing interest or expressing his interest towards a girl, like that was considered to be a proposal, a love proposal. So I still laugh when I think about it. I had no idea. I was very lost. I was like, how are you girls having proposals, marriage proposals, when you're barely 18 years old? So very funny when I think about it now. But that was something that was very new to me because within like a couple of weeks, I could see that like 80% of the people in my class were in relationships. But yes, it was predominantly hidden. Parents didn't know, family didn't know. That was the scene here. But yeah, like so many, a lot of them were like, I've had this boyfriend or girlfriend since my school days. And a lot of them, obviously, new relationships formed in college, all of that. But I just found that things were not really much different here. But it was just kind of kept on the down low. It wasn't like so open that parents would know. So parents will mainly get to know when you're serious enough to take it to the marriage stage. So that was a complete shock for me. So now when I think back on all of this, I think that experience was something that was very interesting to me. I still remember those days. Again, it's been about 16 years. Yeah, it's been 16 years since I experienced that. And now so many things are just the norm here, you know, like now when I think about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's how things are here. And like, you know, I've accepted it. But I think what I've embraced the most is that the India that I perceived before and the India that I'm experiencing now, they're just different. But it's still India, it's still home, you know, things are great. So, yeah, so let me know if there's anything else that you'd like to know. Please comment below. Let me know your experiences on anything that you've experienced here. I'd love to hear about that too. So, see you next time.